Get your figures at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description.
Kaiju, turtles, Dragon Ball, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hello collectors, it's Steven here with... Now, wait, hold on, don't close out of the video yet. Yeah, we all know that Other M is garbage, but we have an action figure here, not the game, so it could be better. It's like 3 steps removed from the game now, okay? Anyway, we have a review of the Figma Samus from Other M in her power suit with the Varia. Who thought that was a good idea? The Varia feature. Anyway, the Hunter here was our first Nintendo Figma. It's kind of like history, and mine is from the first production run. So how does it hold up in today's action figure landscape, especially with another option available on the market, Metroid Prime 3? Well, let's take a look to see whether or not this one is going to be worth adding to your collection. Unfortunately, fans were a little bit misled with a nice bright metallic orange when we took a look at the prototype pictures and what was on display at One Fest and the like, and instead we got something a bit darker. Okay, that mostly looks nice. Now keep in mind, for mine, there might be a few dings and stuff because, this is old and I've displayed it a lot. But some of the things that we're going to see here are a result of the manufacturing process. Okay? All right, so good we're able to keep that in mind. Now, I will say that generally the metallic paint that is applied here mostly looks good with no real concerns. I will note though that in a couple of oddball spots, most notably as we'll see on the default hand that comes out of the box, hand looks a little bit blobby, and that's rather disappointing considering the original price point and how everyone was kind of in a mad dash to make sure that they were able to get this. There is neon green that is utilized elsewhere throughout the figure, and it isn't necessarily as clean as it probably could be. But what I will say is stuff like the metallic green for the visor. We do have the metallic, I guess you might say tannish coloration for the non-super duper orange for the Varia feature. That metallic paint is applied rather well. Yeah, overall, I would have to say that Max Factory did pretty solid here. But one thing that they didn't do pretty solid about is that the whole figure is painted. The base plastic is white. So if this gets chipped, oh, that's odd and not an easy fix. So overall, Samus looks nice. Couple of quality control issues on mine. Just make sure you don't chip her. All right, Articulation, and back when this was released, it was very good. Mine, unfortunately, had a few quality control issues, which I can address with you and say that I've basically got them taken care of. But generally speaking, even by today's standards, it's still pretty good. So what do we have? Well, head is plugged in, interestingly enough, on a ball joint system. So this way we can get her to look around and rock the head from side to side, look up about that far, look down about that far, just with the neck joints alone. We do have an ab crunch, which is a ball joint, which doesn't really help too much looking up and down so far. You can see I'm really pushing the range of movement there, but rocking from side to side to really get into some of those action poses, which Other M was known for. I will give it that some of the action sequences in the game were pretty fun. You can definitely recreate that here. Now, the joint system for the shoulders is a little weird because the shoulder pads here, those plug in, well, not even exactly. The shoulder system is plugged into the body on a ball joint, so this way we can move it around. Very nice and easy. This one was deathly tight on mine, and this was actually the first figure that I used the quote-unquote patented dish soap method that I have on. So there's still dish soap in there back when I got this figure 2012, and it's still moving fine, still holding up, no issues there. But even then, this will lock up sometimes. So what am I talking about with the system here? Well, let's see if I can do this with ease. Well, you see, this bicep really does like to pop off on mine. So that's one quality control issue here. But the way that it works, it's a split Y joint. So there's a ball joint that plugs in to the shoulder pad, and then there's a ball joint where the arm is going to plug in. So you do have to be careful if you're going to force anything and you don't want to break it. But that is how they decided to get the shoulder system to work. Now, can you get a T-pose out of her? Yes, you can. Now, when I say that this is outdated, you may think that that is a rather effective design until you review and get the Metroid Prime 3 Figma done, and you see where we come in for engineering. So when you have the better game, you T-pose on your rival. There you go. Okay, now that that's taken care of, we talked about the ab crunch, so let's talk about the elbows. They move on a hinge, right? And they technically have swivels as well because of the way that the Figma joint system works, but it is what it is. Now, these are the old style Figma wrist joints. They're on pegs and they hinge. So if you're a NECA fan, that is pretty much what they're still using now for the most part. So you will be very familiar with that. For the hips, they are going to be on ball joints and they do twist and they do turn. So very cool there. We do have a thigh swivel, single hinge knees, which also swivel as well. More swivel movement than we're going to get out of the elbows. We do have hinges at the ankles, so this way we can move them forward and back. We do have toe hinges, and then we do have ankle rockers, which we can really push. But the interesting thing about this is that the foot is sort of a separate piece instead of it moving right at the ankle. And yeah, that is pretty good movement. So if you are looking to get your intergalactic bounty hunter into a fun pose to throw up on your shelf, maybe you just want to get her into a neat action pose like so, where she's firing off her arm cannon like that, jumping in the air, shooting after some space pirates or Metroids, which it's other M, so maybe she is doing that. You can definitely do that. Just keep in mind that there were some engineering choices which by today's standards would be a bit questionable, but for what she does have, she moves rather well. Accessories time. We get the usual stand and baggie, we get some hands, we get a missile tip for the arm cannon, we get a morph ball, yeah, and we get 2 different power beam parts. Nice. Here's all the hands. They're pretty standard because, I mean, we're only going to have the left arm. Yeah. The green blobs on the hands are a bit Now, remember, this is going to be an older Figma, so they're going to use the 1.0 style swivel and hinge. No pseudo ball joint. Yeah. Anyway, they're easy to swap out, almost the same as the missile tip. Now, both the normal and the missile tip have little notches in them for lining them up correctly, so that way they are able to stay attached. Very cool. Next, we do have the power beam effect parts. We have the single shot and a double shot. They just plug into the tip of the arm cannon, and you can use them for the normal or the missile, and that's that. They're translucent, red, pink, whatever you'd prefer, plastic, and yeah, cool. We get them, no doubt, but no charge beam or missile for the, missile effect for the arm cannon. Yeah. And why didn't they do maybe different colors? Maybe like a plasma or something? Oh, it's other M. Right. Yeah. I guess we're going to need authorization for that. Now, for the original MSRP of about $45 or so, I would say it's a solid amount, but with so many power-ups throughout the game, just wish that we could get more. But if you do need effect parts or other support stands, you know I have videos to help you out. And considering Samus's arsenal, you're going to need a lot of effect parts. Now, here's a size comparison for you with some other Metroid figures that you might have. And as you can see, this one scales up, I would say, rather fine, especially with the Zero Suit Figma. So, buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Mine's got a couple of quality control issues, but aside from that, she looks rather nice, and the articulation works well for the time of release with a nice chunk of accessories. No, not perfect, but for MSRP, we get a solid release here that kept Metroid fans happy for some time. However, with the Metroid Prime 3 Figma out, and this one being rather outdated in terms of engineering, I don't know, it's not bad. So I would say that if you're looking to get a solid Samus figure, this is a good choice. Also, if you like Metroid in general, and you're a fan of the design, this is a good choice. It won't let you down. However, keep in mind the limitations of the time when this came out, and I would argue the Metroid Prime 3 Varia Suit Samus Figma is better. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now you've heard a lot from me, I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you,
2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.